Hi there traders, you are watching this video because you want to know why Workhorse, ticker symbol WKHS, will win the U.S. Postal Service truck contract bid, which is worth about $6.3 billion to be awarded in 2020. Now there are four bidders for an Oshkosh truck. Oshkosh truck is out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. They built military trucks and equipment. And then we have a Turkish automaker, Karsan. And then an Indian automaker, Mahindra. Okay, so these two are foreign automaker with partnership with U.S. company. And then we have Workhorse, which is the winner, I believe. If you look at it, better design, 100% zero free emission vehicle, all electric, okay? Compared to hybrid like the Ford and Oshkosh one. It's a gas and battery, so it's a hybrid, and these are not electric, so they're not zero emission vehicle. And then another one is General Motors. All right. So if you look at this, we have a couple of players that is bidding for this U.S. Postal Service truck contract. Whoever wins, their stock is going to skyrocket. Ford, GM, or Workhorse. If you look at the design, these are very typical FedEx, UPS, Ryder trucks. 100% electric, zero emission vehicle. Also U.S. company. And so basically, Workhorse is in a position to get this contract, in addition to other things that I'm going to be talking here. So basically, we're looking at a deadline which is March 27, that has been extended to July 14, which is about 4 days ago. So the deadline has passed, and it looks like there are only four players right now. All right, there are two foreign automakers with partnership with U.S. automaker company, and then there's Ford and Oshkosh, and then Workhorse. And so basically, the contract is to build about 200 new trucks. The reason these trucks need to be replaced is because they're really old, outdated, overextended, overworked, and there has been a lot of news lately that these trucks are catching on fire because it's pretty much at the end of its life expectancy for these kind of trucks, and it's the faulty wire is being blamed for causing a lot of these fires all over the US and stuff. So it needs to be replaced. Now let's talk about Workhorse. A little while back, Trump actually made a surprise announcement on Twitter. And so basically, he made the announcement that great news for Ohio, Trump tweeted. Breaking news. So he's breaking the news. He's making a surprise announcement. He knew about this. The announcement came even before the company and social media picked up and actually made formal announcements. So it was finalized Thursday, and terms were not disclosed. And that was a little while back in May. All right. So obviously Trump knew about this, and knowing Trump, he likes to take credit for things. So he knows that something is up. Otherwise, he wouldn't tweet it. He wouldn't talk about it, because a little while back in 2018, he was basically scoring automaker GM, saying, "Hey, they're trying to cut costs and they're moving away from Ohio and taking jobs away from residents and things like that." And so when he tweeted great news for Ohio, meaning that he's got an agenda. He is saying, hey, I know there's a deal coming. Something's coming to Ohio. And if it's coming to Ohio, what is in Ohio? Well, basically, Workhorse. So Workhorse is not the company that actually bought the GM factory in Lordstown, Ohio. All right. But the CEO of Workhorse is the one that actually set up a brand new company called Lordstown Motors, and that's the company that bought the old GM factory. But there is an agreement between Workhorse and Lordstown Motor that basically Lordstown will be licensing its intellectual property to Lordstown Motor in building the EV, electric vehicle. And the deal calls for Workhorse that will have pretty much a 1% commission on each of the first 200 trucks sold by Lordstown. All right, so Workhorse has 10%, okay, owns 10% of Lordstown Motors. And in addition to that, they are getting a commission 1% on each of the first 100 vehicles sold by Lordstown Motor. Now, where's that 200 truck number came from? I mean, this is an agreement between Lordstown Motor and Workhorse. Okay, it's an agreement, a contract between two companies. But the USPS contract calls for making about 200 vehicles, same number. That's kind of odd. All right, so this contract, it's about $6.3 billion to make about 200,000 vehicles. That obviously the United States Postal Service's trucks need to be replaced because they're all catching fire, unsafe. And that Trump is breaking the news to the public. Surprise announcement by Trump back in May that the GM Motors factory in Lordstown, Ohio had been finalized. Terms were not disclosed. And that was Trump making that surprise announcement. So he's taking credit for that deal that happened, that Lordstown Motors and Workhorse purchased the old GM factory. But why would Trump be interested in that? Why would he be interested in two private company purchasing the GM factory? Unless he knows something. And obviously, I think he knows about this 6.3 billion contract bid. And there's like pretty much 4 companies that is bidding for the contract. So who's going to get it? Well, obviously the post office is going to be the one that's going to decide. Then the question becomes, well, who's in charge of the post office? Certainly not Trump, but he does have some influence over that. And let me tell you why. Top Republican fundraiser and Trump ally named Postmaster General, giving President new influence over Postal Service. Who's this guy? Louis DeJoy. He's been appointed the new Postmaster General. And he is a big Trump supporter. He donated about $1.2 million to the Trump Victory Fund. Interesting. Right? And so he's been appointed Postmaster General. Just appointed in June of this year. June 2020. But he donated $1.2 million to the Trump Victory Fund, and he is a businessman. He's rich. He's got money. Trump supporter, Republican. And he is now the new postmaster. Yeah, that's the guy right there. So who's in control of the post office that will be making decision about who's going to win the bid? Well, Trump is already excited about the Workhorse and Lordstown Motor purchasing that factory. And basically, it says the deal could bring hundreds, thousands of jobs back into the area, meaning Ohio. And it is going to be the hub for EV manufacturing. So it is going to be the hub for electric vehicle manufacturing in the US. That's the goal. So why is this important to Trump, and why is he tweeting this and making this surprise announcement? Well, I think it's because, again, back in 2018, he was tweeting that GM made some very bad decisions. In addition, they're moving away from Ohio, trying to cut costs and taking away a lot of jobs and things like that. And so if Trump can do something about it, that he can claim that he brought manufacturing in the automotive industry, especially the new EV vehicles, bringing tons of jobs back into Ohio. That's definitely going to help him in the 2020 election season that's coming up very quickly. All right. And so obviously, if you look back 2018, he's already preparing this. He's already getting on GM's case. He's already trying to be prepared to win Ohio, saying bad for GM, not good for Ohio. Jobs are lost. revenues are lost. And so, well, if Trump can do something about it, that definitely it's going to help. And so if you look at these Ohio 2020 presidential election polls, it looks like Trump is only winning in 2 of these polls. There's like a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 polls. And so 2 of these polls, Trump is ahead. Trump is ahead 46, Biden 43. And in another one, Trump is ahead 47 versus 43. These are the only 2 polls that he is winning. But the other 9 polls shows that he's losing by a pretty good percentage. Some small, some bigger. And so Trump is probably worried about this. Why Ohio? Well, if you're losing a state, when that state, if you look back 2016, Trump won the electoral votes right there. Donald J. Trump, 304 versus 227 for Hillary Clinton. So he won Ohio back in 2016. It's important. He's losing right now. He can't take losing, especially for a state like that. So he's got to have to do something. July, August, September, October, November. It's only 5 months. You can't wait until October or November. You need to do something now. All right? You need to tell Ohio resident, vote for me, because guess what I did? Guess what I can do? To the tune of $6.3 billion, Workhorse Lordstown Motor coming into Lordstown, Ohio, and building automotive. It's going to build the hub for electric vehicle, creating thousands and thousands of jobs, just like Trump will initially and eventually tweet about it. And so Trump is now in a position to do that. Especially, he's got influence now. So the U.S. Postal Service, it's got 4 bid. They have about 90 days in which to announce who is the winner. And if you look at it, 90 days from July 14 will be about October 14. So I took some calls last week, October expiration. And it's going to be, if the U.S. Postal Office take that whole 90 days to make that decision and that announcement, it is still before my October expiration. But I don't think the Postal Service is going to wait that long to make that announcement, because I think, based on what I've seen and research, my analysis that Trump would like that announcement as soon as possible, so he can start tweeting about it. He can start telling Ohio residents, see what I did. I brought $6.3 billion into Workhorse Lordstown Motors, residents of Ohio, lots of jobs, lots of revenue, lots of things is happening. I did this. I made the deal. Give me the credit that I deserve, and that is your vote, Ohio. And that's what he wants. He wants to take the Ohio. So that's the only logical conclusion. Why would a president be interested in 2 private companies buying, the old General Motors factory? Unless there's big plans in the works. And obviously, $6.3 billion is big. And that's why this guy is now the Postmaster General somebody who is a businessman that pretty much donated a lot of money, 1.2 million to the Trump Victory Fund. So the Postal Service has a new guy in charge that can make decisions that probably, in line with Trump's policy, and that is, I believe that Workhorse will win the bid, and that 6.3 billion is going to go into Ohio, bringing lots of jobs. So I would be happy if I was Trump to be able to tweet something like this and claim the victory of bringing jobs back to Ohio. Winning the votes is definitely going to help Trump's 2020 re-election. That's what I think is going on, right? So that's why I say that Workhorse is going to win the bid. That's my prediction. Too many little pieces fall in place. And then on top of that, what is ZEV? Zero Emission Vehicle. All right, California and 10 other states. Okay. New program, new law, new requirements. Basically, what they're trying to do is that the goal is to generate fewer global warming emission gas-powered vehicle out there. So we're looking at a policy of zero emission vehicle in California, Colorado, Connecticut, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, and Vermont. I'm pretty sure other states to follow. All right. So obviously, Workhorse is the right automaker because they're 100% zero emission vehicle, all electric. The other bidders, hybrid, gas and battery. So that doesn't really qualify. Or at least it's not an electric vehicle. It's a hybrid. You still have to use gas. All right? And so it's not as cost efficient as the EV vehicle. So Workhorse is placing itself in the right spot for that contract to be awarded to them. In addition to all of these tweets that Trump made about Workhorse, Lordstown purchasing the old GM factory. Now these Workhorse vehicles are pretty interesting. In addition to it being electric vehicles, they got these like drones here that basically can deliver the packages to a residential area that has a fence or that the driver can't get into, don't have access to, and things like that. So they just use the drone and then control it, drop the package, and boom, be gone, kind of a thing. Which is pretty unique. One of a kind. So let's look at, on the technical side, let's look at the chart. This is what I see. All right, we got a rally in June. Right? Price is only about $3. And in a matter of 2 months, it just skyrocketed to about $23. And then July 3rd, we have a pullback. And then from there point forward, we kind of consolidate in this little area here. So if you look at that, it looks like it's trading in this range right now. Right? The good thing about this is I'm bullish because Friday's close. It's 1493. It's above the 20 MA. Here's my 10 MA, 20 MA, my 50 and my 20, 200. And so my 20 and my 200, they're a little far apart. I mean, that's not what I like to see, but definitely the candles are above the 20 MA. So one of my strategy is that if the candles are above that 20 and that 20 is above the 200, I'm bullish. And so we have a rally way up and then a pull back close to the 20 already. And so if my strategy works out, it's going to find support in this area and then it's going to make a move to the upside again. So looking at let me go into FinViz here. Let me show you something else. So if you look at Workhorse here, I sometimes go into FinViz. It's a free site just to look at some financial data and things like that. And you go to Market Watch, you could go to Barron's, you could go to Yahoo and other sites, but a lot of time I just go into FinViz to look at data. So if you look at the shares float is 55 million, okay, so 55.5, and of that 33% are short sellers. Alright, so we have a lot of short sellers for this pullback here. And so if the announcement comes and say, hey, the winner is Workhorse, price is just gonna spike like crazy, and all of these short sellers, remember, right, 33% are short sellers. They're gonna be trapped, so they will have to buy to cover, which then is just gonna cause it to exponentially multiply to the upside 2, 3, 4, 5x, who knows. So I'm bullish on Workhorse, and I think that the post office bid is going to be announced sooner than later. I don't think it's going to take that whole 60-90 days at all, because obviously the election is coming up in November, and if I was Trump, I would want this thing announced right away. The sooner the better, probably before the end of this week, so I can start using that to rally, do my campaign, and say, Ohio, vote for me. I did the job. I brought back jobs to Ohio. I'm going to make Ohio the hub of EV manufacturing. Because Trump is not winning. He is losing according to the polls. He needs to do something really quick, or he's not going to have that success that he did back in 2016. Because even back then it was close. Electoral votes, Trump got 304, Hillary Clinton 227. And now, according to these polls, Biden is ahead of Trump. And so the only way Trump, based on these data right now, the only way Trump could swing this is say, hey, look, Workhorse, Strom Motors. Okay, I brought these to Ohio, and so Lordstown Motors, Workhorse, now in Ohio, 6.3 billion, lots of jobs, thousands of jobs. I did it. Okay, and this is the only way that I could see it turning around for Trump, because these polls are against Trump, and Trump doesn't like losing. He does not want to lose Ohio. He wants to win. So, great news for Ohio, Trump tweeted. All right. So, based on some politics, based on government federal fundings from, the through the U.S. Postal, 6.3 billion. Trump having a new postmaster general that's his supporter. I mean, this is hardcore stuff. I mean, you don't just donate 1.2 million to the Trump Victory Fund if you're not a hardcore Republican Trump supporter. And now you just been appointed as postmaster general of the U.S. Postal Service, just like 2 months ago, June 2020. So all of these are in the planning. And initially in May, Trump is excited about Workhorse, Lordstown Motors buying the old General factory plant, and obviously now we have 6.3 billion sitting there from the federal government through the U.S. Postal Office to be given to 4 bidders. 2 are foreign companies, so I'm thinking they're pretty much out of the question. Buy America, Trump America, meaning no foreign automaker will be getting this contract. So now we have just Ford and Oshkosh truck versus Workhorse, because GM is out of the question. So with all of that, looking at the charts, I'm bullish. I go big on Workhorse calls. And so either way, looking at the chart, I'm bullish. I got in that green spot right there, so I'm sitting good. And so even without the announcement coming before October, I think the pullback stabilized. It's time to go to the upside. And if that announcement comes in before the end of July, we're going to have a lot of short seller trap. They're going to have to buy. It's going to cause the stock to go up. With the announcement, it's going to go crazy. It's just going to be like SpaceX to the moon. All right, so thanks for watching, and good luck if you have WKHS positions, equity or call options. I hope you don't have put options, because you'll be in trouble. And if you don't hold any, get it while you can. Thanks for watching.